All right, Sandrin Knives Torino, the Torino from Sandrin Knives. I've had a Sandrin knife before, done a video on it. It was called the TCK 416. And if you dial up my video on it, just type in Sandrin Knives into a search in YouTube, scroll down, you'll find this. And yeah, a year ago. And now we've got the Torino. And this is a different kind of knife because this is not a liner lock. It's not a frame lock. It's light. It's got the recoil lock that was designed by Cynics. And I'll give you more information on that. But it's basically this back here. You just pull back and let it drop. And thank God for the big choil up front. You can just get your fingers out of the way and do that. You got ambidextrous thumb studs on this, kicks it open. And of course, this is not a steel blade. This is a tungsten carbide blade. And they've got this raw finish that they did to this. They did this intentionally. So some people feel like it's a little too unfinished of a look, but this is what they were going for, okay? So it's not like it's accidental or they just don't know what they're doing. It's they wanted to do it intentionally. Like I said, dual thumb studs, very thin blade stock, and a titanium pocket clip that you can reverse, so it's totally ambidextrous because the lock is ambidextrous, and of course the pocket clip can be ambidextrous, and the thumb studs are ambidextrous. Okay, very thin blade stock on this little puppy. Let's open it up, push it down. 1.2 millimeter. Let's get up a little closer here. Yeah, still 1.2 millimeter at 0.04. Or, you know, take the pressure off that 0.05 at 1.2. Yeah, very thin blade stock. 9.8 millimeters at 0.38 thick. So very slender. And so I can, with confidence, have my finger here, pull this recoil because it's fairly thin. You know, it's a thin recoil lock. It's jimped and stuff. But yeah, after a while, that gets to my finger to do that. You know, I'm going to be giving myself a little pain doing that. You can do it if you want to, but at least that way you're free. Now, the whole thing, though, is that big old choil takes away from cutting edge. Yeah, it does. You're under a 3-inch blade, technically, but right at it, 75 millimeter, but you've got 60 millimeter cutting edge. Really, what? 2.3 inch cutting edge on this knife out of about a 2.85 inch blade. And, you know, just pointing it out. It's not here or there as far as I'm concerned. What I find fascinating, of course, about the Sandrin knives is that they have stay sharp technology. And yes, they do stay sharp. And guess what? The one that we ran, and we did on this, we ran tests on it. Let me give you those test results. And I couldn't find my paperwork here, but I took it off the video that I did where we did the testing on it. The HRC was 72. They claimed 71, so we got 72. We're really close there. 73% tungsten, 25% cobalt, and 2% chromium. And if you don't believe me, read them and weep, brothers. There you go. Tungsten, cobalt, and chromium on the readout specifically. Now you can go to the Sandrin site, and I believe there's other retailers that sell these knives, but the $199 dollar price of entry here, state of the art. It's really fascinating because obviously it's rust proof, okay, because it's tungsten carbide. Here's your overall length. 2.95-inch blade at a Recoil of 71. And you might check Cedric and Ada. I mean, he did a cutting test with one of these. I don't know if it was this specific model, but I mean, just kept going. It was like the Energizer Bunny, just kept going and going, right? So, and then he tried to sharpen a nick out of the blade of the knife. And how he got the nick in there, I don't know. But, oh, baby, that was a whole video right there, and his right arm about fell off from trying to sharpen that out. But basically, diamonds are the answer there. Diamond impregnated sharpening stones. Also right here, it says, you know, the recoil lock mechanism by Cenex, ceramic bearings, jimping, 3D machined red G10 handles, and reversible titanium pocket clip, tip up carry, ambidextrous, left or right hand. Polyhedral tungsten carbide, PTC. This is what they are crafted from. And once again, you know, ceramic bearings. Of course, Cenex design, who called it his power lock. They call it the recoil lock. And sliding the back spacer, that's what kicks it open and closed. There is a thing, we're going to take this apart. There is kind of a little situation here with these back screws because they have control a bit over this lock here. So you have to set the tension on these correctly, okay? Both sides here, you can break it apart, you can take that apart. But when you put it back together, you'll notice that the tension on these screws affects the way that this lock works. And it's light as a feather. Yes, it is. 2.31 ounces at 65.5 grams. It's real easy to kick open. This is, you know, like this with the thumb, middle finger flick. Not a problem. You know, it locks up solid, and then you can release it without putting your finger in the middle of the problems here, just like that. But very slender in the hand. The ergos, I can get all 4 fingers on here, okay? Now, if I move up, which might be more likely for some cutting tasks, then I've got extra room behind me. But I mean, it's not a real long knife. It's under 7 inches overall length. So, yeah, I'm good. And reverse grip, yeah, that works as well. There's a little choil in there. So I have a KME sharpening system, and it's got diamond on the stones. So, yes, I could resharpen this. I'm not looking forward to resharpening this. I think I might pawn that task off on somebody else I know, because I know several guys that are viewers on this channel that sharpen knives, and I hope they have more fun doing it than I do. But wow, that's going to stay sharp for a long time, so I don't know if I'll have to beg any favors off of them for a while. Where's my balance on the knife? There's my balance on the knife. I mean, it's thin, it's light, it's an easy, discreet carry. Look at the pocket clip. It's deep carry, it's reversible. I don't see any problem with that. It slips in and out of my pocket, so it's good there. So I don't really have a problem with it as far as going in and out of the pocket. Interesting that I had several people asking about whether these were 3D printed, but they don't say that. They say machined. So, okay, take a good look. You decide. I don't really care. I mean, they're G10 scales, whatever. But yes, I know. It's money. Yes, it's a couple $100. Is that worth it for that? I mean, for the novelty alone, for me, yes. And actually, I had a job for a few years in a machine shop. I was not a tool and die maker. That when you are that level, you know what you're doing. No, but I was just doing some machine operator type stuff. And one thing I was doing was sharpening carbide, okay, for little industrial carbide knives for cutting fan belts for the Goodyear factory. They had these little carbide knives that would just be in a fixed position, and then the material would run through and they'd cut the strips to size. So they always had carbide blanks, and so we would have to sharpen those with diamond wheels that were rotating, and then we'd go and we had a fixture and we'd have to sharpen those knives. And I'll tell you what, yeah, you'd eat up some diamond sharpening wheels sharpening these. Amazing. But those were way more brittle. This one's got some flex to it. So I wouldn't push my luck, but I wouldn't try and use this as a pry tool or anything. But yes, it does have more flex to it than standard carbide. By the way, here's the box. Just, for your curiosity's sake, right here is where the knife goes in, and you do get a microfiber cloth. So that's nice as well. Magnetic closure, and then a little outer sleeve. Bam. Okay. Let's see what we can do here. And we do have the ability to enter here from both sides. Looks like a number 8. And both sides, the pivot was turning, so obviously had to stabilize it on one side here. And there's your pivot screw. Now we're missing a pivot. Now we need the body screws. And let's get happy with the number 6 here. And there we go. Next. Let me see if that goes all the way through. Probably. Let me do this from this side. Okay. There's our pocket clip. And here's a screw from the front side. Those look the same size. Okay, there's the inside of the scale right here with this little pin. And back in here, we've got where our recoil lock goes. We got the spring. Whoop, whoop, let's not be too cavalier. We got the spring that's loaded in here, okay? And then this goes up front here, okay? Now, washer, okay? Ceramic bearings on both ways. No D-shaped pivot. That's why the whole pivot was spinning, and I had to secure that, but at least it can be secured from the other side, so you can break it away, not have a problem there. That looks like to be a stop, and that looks like it may also be a stop. Yeah, this looks like the stop here, and that pin looks like the stop right there. And there's the inside here, where, of course, that recoil piece sits with the spring, etc. And let's put a little bit of KPL on here. Let's kick our blade back on. And that pivot will fall right out the front if I don't support it. It'll drop right out. Here's our ceramic bearings on the other side. And then, of course, we've got these steel washers because we're up against the G10 there. So we got to have something in there. Let's put the pivot screw back in, or at least as far as we can. And then we need this screw in here. How about this little screw right here? And let's get our pocket clip reinstalled, which is good. Okay, got it back together. It's just a matter of adjusting the tension on this recoil lock because that can affect how it works. But I think we got it figured out. Yeah, nice. So yeah, this is a very individual type of knife, one that would be only for certain collectors because of the price, but also the type of blade material. I find it interesting. I really do. One of those forever sharp type knives. Of course, rust-proof as well, in a very lightweight, deep pocket carry, ambidextrous package. So I'll leave you to it. Thanks for hanging out. And you know what we do. We love them knives. So you guys stay sharp.